up on today's After News, AEW Originals are WWE Bound.
We've got another update on Becky Lynch's possible retirement.
I've got the latest on Logan Paul's defamation lawsuit.
And more on Zilla, Fatu and WWE.
I'm Adam Wilborn.
I'm Michael Hamflett.
And this is the After News. Right, let's talk about those AEW Originals who seemingly look like they are heading to WWE. I'm talking, of course, you've probably seen this all over social media, of the Lucha Bros, Rey Fénix and Penta El Zero Miedo. Brian Alvarez reporting that the eternal belief within AEW is that both Penta and Fénix will be leaving the company for WWE when their contracts expire. There's already been speculation on this. Wrestle Purist reported on Monday that the two were expected to leave and that a Trios Championship match that had been set for All In involving them has since been changed. We've had previous reports on this. Lucha Libre Online reported back in June that Penta's contract was set to expire between August and September, and there was interest within WWE in bringing him in. Fightful also reported last week that Fénix's contract was also coming up this year. They, of course, have been a part of AEW from the beginning. 2019, they lost to the Young Bucks at the very first Double or Nothing. I was very lucky to be there in attendance. They've had title wins, of course. They're fan favourites. But also, you can very easily see with the LA now, and all that good stuff, how Zero Miedo would fit perfectly in WWE, along with the fact that they're also class.
Yeah. It's one of them times, I think probably the last example of this is maybe Ricochet, where you look at the landscape of pro wrestling and the fact that we've got two mainstream North American national promotions and think, well, would Wrestler A fit better in Company B? Yes. This is one of those jumps that I don't think you'll find much displeasure about on either side. I think within AEW, at the moment, the roster always feeling like it's got wrestlers that probably want a little bit more time when people move on. Well, theoretically, that makes space for them to slot into. Likewise, WWE, for the most part, seems, I don't know, dare I say, like judicious with the talent that comes straight to the main roster. Like, we've seen people come over from AEW to WWE, but like if you look at like Ethan Page currently in NXT, Sean Spears currently in NXT, Jade Cargill got the jump onto the main roster. You think the Lucha Brothers would probably skip the NXT step and go straight onto the main roster? Yeah, I
think so.
But
strange the LWO will go onto Phantasma, probably.
Let's hope not, although Triple H has form. The fact that like the characters are coming over with like loose approximations of their AEW roles bodes well, I think, for the Lucha Brothers. Like, it might have been once upon a time. Yes, there's always been the story going back to the early 2010s that WWE were desperate for like another Lucha star to sort of take over from the job that Rey Mysterio has done so fabulously for them, and nobody is out. It's Rey Mysterio.
He's still there.
Maybe just stop trying to replace Rey Mysterio and have other great Lucha stars.
You've got a replacement. His son's there now.
Well, indeed, yeah. But you're going to
He's a right wanker, he is, though.
We're a bunch of wankers now, in fact. There's a bunch of like Lucha stars in WWE to the point where at this point the Rey Mysterio conversation appears to be dying, and instead it's just, well, let's just broaden the horizons when it comes to Luchas. We were talking about this just over the desk before we came in. The idea that like the Lucha Brothers like won't get marketed exceptionally well in WWE is absurd. That company is kind of built for gimmicks like this. If there's like investment in them emotionally, you sense there will be, because their matches will just offer something a little bit different than kind of what anybody else on the roster can provide currently. It feels like an exciting one all the way around this.
A bit like you mentioned Ricochet and AEW. Fascinated to see what this looks like. Yeah. Although you mentioned Ricochet and AEW, you mentioned Ricochet, there's a tiny bit of me that thinks, is he done in WWE? There was a tweet from Samantha Irvin saying something, and I thought, 2 out of 3 falls next week, title on the line. Any chance? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but let us know who you'd like to see the Lucha Bros face if they head to WWE when their contracts expire very soon.
Indeed, and one can assume, I guess, from that report about a potential trios match that it would have been Death Triangle, maybe going for the trios title, which makes you wonder, indeed, what PAC will be doing at Wembley on the day of All In.
Yes.
I know what we'll be doing on that
What's
day.
that?
We'll be doing the What Culture Wrestling live show, 12 till 1:30, the day of All In, August 25th. Tickets available, whatculture.com/tickets. It's not just going to be a great live show with idiots like us, and Simon Miller, for Christ's sake, will be there. It's not just going to be a great opportunity to do a meet and greet after the fact. It's not even going to be just a great opportunity to go to that website, pick your favourite t-shirt, pick your ups and downs hands, and get everything you need for a perfect What Culture Wembley Sunday. No, it's going to be a 5-minute walk from All In itself. So there'll be the live show, there'll be time for drinks, and then we can all have a stroll over. I can't think of the way in which we'd all walk over together.
Well, we got ourselves a car.
We'll enjoy all in all together. Vibes will be spectacular. We'll come out of Wembley Stadium, join the madding crowds. There'll be you doing what went down. There'll be Miller doing ups and downs. That's some of the best videos we do for the channel.
Can't wait.
Immediate reactions to the show. Can't wait for that. And then, what was that way that we all walked together again? I've already forgotten. Right the way back to the Crystal Club for Sweet Chin Disco. Now, I could sell you on Sweet Chin Disco, but I think I know somebody that's going to be right at the centre of it that could do an even better job.
The host, inexplicably, of Sweet Chin Disco
guy.
is me, and we're going to have stars of AEW in attendance. Max Caster and Prince Nana are going to be there alongside potentially others. I'm not allowed to say anything. Sam was very specific about that. Stop saying stuff, but get excited. It's going to be a great night. The perfect way to celebrate All In, and it's going on till 3 a.m. Get your tickets and get them soon because they are selling out fast. Just search for Sweet Chin Disco.
Somebody else that's going to be at all 3 events that Sunday is Becky Lynch, because shit now. No, she's not, but
Could be.
But she could be. Technically, she could be. We talked yesterday about how there was a sort of panic / uproar / confusion because Becky Lynch said it was an honour being the man following the airing of her A&E documentary.
Have you seen that clip from the documentary?
At the very end?
The bit with the we've got these figures made to celebrate the big WrestleMania 32
I remember it on a
match.
WWE documentary. It's as bad as it gets, isn't it?
It's Charlotte and Sasha. She's like, the way she says it when she's talking to camera. Oh, I was in that match as well. My heart breaks for her.
Yeah. Now she gets all the figures.
Yes.
Goddamn man.
And a great book, as you've mentioned before.
Oh, it's a tremendous read. Fully recommend it. One of the best wrestling books I've read in absolutely ages. And Fight for Select have kind of given a bit more information and context to the current status with Becky Lynch and WWE. I'll just read from the report. Quote, Fightful reached out to sources close to the situation. WWE sources said that she was retired in an official capacity. They haven't been informed of it yet and didn't believe if she did retire that it would be via Instagram. However, it was noted by one WWE source that, as we've kind of talked about previously, she is not under a WWE deal to their knowledge and could retire without notifying them if she so chose. Yes, that she's not under any obligation of WWE at the moment. The sources have repeatedly stated that Becky is enjoying a time off, that they want to be respectful of her space after what she's given them over the years. It was also reiterated that she would always be welcomed back into WWE. At the time her contract expired, she was planning on simply taking time off, and then WWE and Lynch
Let's normalise that, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. WWE and Lynch both believed if and when the time was right, she'd be back in the fold. Yeah, we spoke about this yesterday. At this point, wrestlers should probably start doing this younger than they had done historically. If you have a point where you've become such a massive star and you've made money to feel a bit more comfortable in your life and have the opportunity to get off the road, to heal your body, to spend time with your family, whatever.
Especially if it aligns so perfectly with a contract running out.
Indeed. Well, spend time with your kid, if not your husband, I suppose, if you're married to another wrestler. But maybe that's the perfect ideal. This should probably, as you say, happen more. Like it used to be, you had to get to 40 or 50 before you were given the privilege of a Legends deal, the Undertaker annual WrestleMania thing. Absolutely not. If you've taken the bumps and made the money, start making it all work for you. I wouldn't be surprised if Becky Lynch continues to take the break, has a nice Christmas, makes the phone call on Royal Rumble season, and then is welcomed back in with the red carpet at a WrestleMania.
Exactly, yeah.
Play smart at this point in your career. You deserve it.
Seems to be more of a clamouring than ever for mixed tag matches with, Rhea and Damian Priest and bloody Liv and Dom now. Seth and Becky versus Punk and AJ Lee.
Oh my God.
Just throwing that out there. Just do with that what you want.
Matching gear in the colours of the bracelets for Punk and AJ with the blue and red and white of Chicago.
They got a pet. I know they got a child, but they got a pet.
And Becky and Seth, just to get rid of all the illusions outright, just as Shawn and Diesel. The wackiest ever versions of Shawn and Diesel. The attire for that match would be out the air.
Yeah,
it's all four of them. They'd nail it.
Right, let's get serious.
Bum bum.
That's Law and Order. I don't know why I've done that.
It's sort of related.
So, Logan Paul defamation lawsuit against CoffeeZilla. If you're unaware about all this, CoffeeZilla has just responded to the defamation lawsuit filed by Logan Paul. He filed it in June. It was prompted by a series of critical YouTube videos about Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo project, created by CoffeeZilla, real name Stephen Findeisen, apologies if I've got that wrong, who operates under CoffeeZilla. In the videos, he raises significant concerns about the legitimacy and financial management of the Crypto Zoo project. It was launched back in 2021 as a groundbreaking crypto game. I already feel incredibly old just reading that sentence.
Yeah.
But CoffeeZilla criticised it, claiming the project was quickly abandoned, key features non-functional, and significant investor losses. He also alleged internal conflicts and financial misconduct within the CryptoZoo team. Paul initially responded defensively, then apologised, and then in June of this year filed a defamation lawsuit against CoffeeZilla, accusing him of publishing false statements and omitting information about Paul's efforts to address the project's problems. Paul asserted that CoffeeZilla's actions were intended to enhance his profile, despite Logan Paul's attempts to resolve the CryptoZoo issues through a buyback program worth over $1 million. Yeah, there was allegations about people not being given their money back, etc., etc. Right. So now CoffeeZilla has responded with a 20-minute YouTube video titled "Logan Paul Sued Me." In the video, he addresses Logan Paul's lawsuit with a detailed critique, asserting that the lawsuit is a strategic move to silence him rather than address the legitimate grievances. According to CoffeeZilla, Logan's lawsuit is not focused on the original investigation, but rather on 2 specific videos and 1 tweet where CoffeeZilla advocated for complete refunds for the investors in CryptoZoo. He argues that Logan Paul has only refunded a small portion of the losses of CryptoZoo, specifically the NFTs, while continuing to contest the remaining claims in court. It's all very serious and complicated, this. I'm not going to say too much because I don't want to get in any legal trouble whatsoever.
No.
But that's another lawsuit for Logan Paul because he's suing he's suing LA as well.
And that's the wrinkle to this story, isn't it? We may have another case of La Gentle, WWE's PR czar, acting up here. Because if you were to want to learn more about this lawsuit via other people beyond us grubby aggregators, you might want to Google Logan Paul lawsuit. And what would you find if you Google it? Well, I'll tell you because I did it this morning. You will find in that top panel 4 stories about Logan Paul suing LA Knight for damage to his Prime vehicle, 1 story that is basically the story that you just told all of us there, and a second story saying, wait a minute, have WWE done this because they want people to find the LA Knight story instead of the real lawsuit? And, you know, you can put 2 and 2 together and probably make 4 on that one. So yeah, there's the real deal behind the actual lawsuit that matters rather than the storyline one that may, you know, speculatively exist to perhaps push it down the Google rankings and SEO trickery and all that sort of thing.
It makes all the more sense, especially considering events of the last week where Logan Paul dropped that US title at SummerSlam.
Indeed. Let's move on, shall we, to Zilla Fatu. Not a member of the Bloodline yet, although based on that rock spreadsheet that we got in Las Vegas with the family tree, the door is open to many a name. And we did indeed, myself and Phil mentioned on Friday that he'd been spotted in Cleveland.
You know, that's what SummerSlam was.
That's right. We kind of worked that out as well. We're like, a few people joined the dots. And Zilla Fatu was even spotted, I believe, in the arena at SummerSlam. Now, he was, I don't want to get this wrong, he was initially advertised for GCW's New Jersey show on the Sunday, which I guess was made impossible by his appearance in Cleveland at the weekend. And people were like, what's going on there? Well, Fightful Select have learned that from GCW specifically, this is that Zilla Fatu ended up having travel delays and cancellations that would have stopped him getting to the show on time. But that WWE naturally has their eyes on him, but he is still expected to work GCW shows in the future. So yeah, I would say at this point, as sort of flippant as it sounds, if you are an actual member of the Bloodline or are able to have wrestling or familiar links to those like Bloodline members on television, the door is never closed. Yeah. For the longest time, it was almost a bit of a gag of like, oh, when they're going to bring in so-and-so, when they're going to bring in so-and-so. And now, look, we actually have 2 Bloodlines. You know, we have the original lot that are set to be the baby faces to take on Solo Sikoa's, you know, a lot of, like, with the Tongans and Jacob Fatu.
You sense Hikuleo might be a part of that as well.
It does feel like the numbers getting bigger only benefits this story at this point, not least with The Rock kind of inserted initially as part of the Cody story, but really, we presume acting as the final boss in the background. You were coming in, not just to WWE, but in a spot that puts you right at the top of the card. And as Jacob Fatu has shown, get well soon, possibly fingers crossed, but as Jacob Fatu has shown, it's a huge window of opportunity.
Absolutely.
That you can smash through. So
Fatu, the bare minimum they're looking for the future, maybe not necessarily right now, but down the road, they've got a real base of just like, well,
eyes are on him, per the reports, and you would imagine if he's Zilla Fatu, eyes are on them right back.
You know how much I love the Bloodline story. I've loved it for many a year now.
You're the OTJ for the OTC, aren't you?
Indeed. The one true journalist. T-shirt coming soon. Thank you to Brian, as always, for that.
Incredible.
But yeah, I think it is going to be one of those things, whether or not, they bring in Zilla as part of this storyline, or whether or not they just think, well, look up, like Solo Sikoa, for example, a great addition, someone who has had one of the greatest transfers from NXT to the main roster.
Hidden in plain sight on NXT.
Yeah, in terms of just like I know Kevin Owens came up and immediately beat John Cena, but in terms of Solo being brought up and inserted into big storylines straight out the gate, can't really argue against that. Like you mentioned, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga Loa's there as well. They've all had, big things going on with the bloodline. It's just getting more and more interesting now with the return of Roman Reigns, the power struggle at the top of the bloodline.
Jay and Sammy reuniting on Raw.
And of course, the biggest question of all, which side is the Queen going to pick?
This hasn't come up as a headline news story. Is baffling to me.
Queen Nia Jax, your champion on SmackDown. That's a hell of a get for whichever side of the bloodline wants her.
Probably the difference maker, if anything, yeah.
The Annihilator, that's what I'd call her. I love her, she's great. And you probably get Tiffany Stratton in that bargain as well.
You only tell her Tiffany.
I love that. The bloodline, the Usos, Roman Reigns, you got Jacob Fatu and then Tiffany Stratton. Hello.
Only in this coverage. Only in this coverage. That's why you've clicked here. That was why this was once again worth your time.
I can't believe this is free. I can't bloody believe it. In fact, if you want to send us money for doing this...
No, we don't do that bit. The only thing we want to send you, in fact, is to another video.
God, well, you're really getting your money's worth. And it's free. Have I mentioned that?
But where would we send them?
It's the morning news. See you later.